Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So, talk about 2016 physics question from motion chapter. So you can see that in the question, our table has been given like this. Okay, these are the value of time, and those are in second, and this is the velocity in per second. Now this shows that when time was zero, that means initially the velocity was zero, the body was at rest. Then as time passed, after 8 seconds, the velocity became 4 meter per second. After 16 seconds, the velocity became 8 meter per second. After 24, it remained at 8, and after 32 seconds it was still at 8. That means from 16 to 32, this time interval, the car or the body ran at a uniform velocity, right? Because the velocity did not change. And then after this, what we see, the velocity is decreasing again, right? Okay, after 40 seconds the velocity fell to 4, and after 48 seconds the velocity came to 0. So the body came to at rest, we can say. So after 32 seconds, the driver must have applied the brake and the velocity gradually fell down. So for such problem, number C, they are telling us to calculate the distance traveled by the car within first 32 seconds. I will actually show you how to calculate that distance for all the three parts. Okay, then inshallah from there you will be able to find out if they tell you for first 32 second or first 16 second, you can do everything. Okay, I will show you the whole. I will not only solve for first 32, I will solve it for the whole 48 second. Okay, then inshallah you will be able to see what happens. Now for such problem, I already told you, it's always better to draw the graph first and then solve the problem. Okay, so let us try to draw the graph first, even if we do not know yet that whether they told us to draw or not. In D number, actually, if you notice, according to the given stem, draw the graph. So sometimes they will tell you to draw the graph. So at D, you have to draw it anyway. So before you answer C, take a graph paper, draw, plot these points in the graph paper. That will help you to answer C also. Okay. So, and if they don't tell you in D to draw the graph, even though no problem if you draw and give, that will actually give a better impression about yourself to the examiner. Because in SSC, your paper will go to Bangladesh. The Bangladeshi teachers, someone you don't know him, he doesn't know you. Okay, he will get to know you by your paper only, right? Your paper is the impression that he will get about you. So if you can give him a good impression at the beginning of the paper, then what will happen? Throughout the paper, he will be inclining towards giving you more and more marks. Okay, there are some questions where it depends on teacher whether to give 2 or 3. Okay, if he wants he can give 2, if he wants he can give 3, doesn't matter. Sometimes it depends on the mood also. Okay, so in such cases you will get the advantage if you can create a good impression on the teacher at the beginning of the paper with the first question that you answer itself. If you can create a good impression, then throughout the paper he will be automatically he will be giving you more marks. Okay, so try to draw graph in such cases. This is suggested. If they are not telling you to draw in the question also, draw it. Okay, this is not something very difficult. If you find it difficult, you may tell me, I will show you how to draw it. Okay, inshallah. Now let's draw the graph.
Sir, in rough page?
No, in proper graph paper. In a proper, you will take a proper graph paper and then you will plot these points. Okay, then along x-axis you will put time, and along y-axis you will put velocity. Okay, meter per second.
Sir, we will paste that paper in examination also.
Yes, obviously you have to attach it with your answer paper. Okay, staple it. You may staple it, better to staple it in the page where you have answered this question. Okay, some people attach it at the end of the paper, but if you attach it at the end of the paper, the teacher might not see it at first when he's checking the first question, right? So better to attach with it so that he can see. Okay, so now if we start plotting, we have to see time is 0, 8, 16. Okay, so we will plot accordingly. It is 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, and 48. And velocity, we have only up to 8, so there is nothing to worry. So 4, and let us say this is 8. Okay, above that we don't need, so we do not need to plot. So the first point is 0, 0. 0, 0 is the origin. You will not move anything along x-axis, you will not move anything along y-axis because both is 0. Then you have time 8. So time is along x-axis, so you come here, and velocity for it is 4. So from here you will go. Yeah. So this is your second point, right? And then third, 16, 8. So you come to 16 and then you rise to 8. Okay. Then for 24, again you rise to 8. Again, my drawing might not be as accurate as possible because this is not a proper graph paper. I'm just trying to be as accurate as possible. Okay, so that you may get an idea how the graph might look like. So for 32 also 8, 40, this will come down to 4, and at 48 it will be 0. Okay, so now what we have to do, we have to join the points. Okay, so if we join the points, the first line, the second part, and the third part. Okay, we can name this point. This point is O. The origin is always named as O, and this will be A, B, and let us say this point is C. Okay, this is X, X prime, this is Y, Y prime. Okay, so the drawing the graph has been complete. Okay, so they told us to calculate the distance. I will show you how to calculate distance for each part. You can see that we can divide the whole journey into 3 parts. One is OA, another part is AB, another part is BC. Okay, so let us see how we can do that. So for OA part, if I tell you that calculate the distance traveled for the first 16 seconds, how can you do that? At first, you have to identify whether there is acceleration or it is uniform velocity. So can someone tell me, Eva, can you tell me that in OA part, if there is acceleration or it is uniform velocity? Eva.
Acceleration.
Acceleration, very good. So when there is acceleration, what are the equation that we can use? The 4 equation or S equal to VT? We know 4 equations of motions are there. So those when we use in case of acceleration or uniform velocity?
Acceleration.
Very good. So 4 equations of motion we will write. Okay. Let me write it here. V equal to U plus AT. Then S equal to U plus V divided by 2 into T. S equal to UT plus half A T square. V square equal to U square plus 2AS. Okay. Now our target is to find out the distance traveled in first 16 seconds. How we can do that? We have to choose any one of the equation. Oh, first we identified that there is acceleration. So if there is acceleration, we have to choose one equation from here. But which one to choose? For that, we have to actually list up the information that we know for OA part. Okay. So I will write for OA. For OA part, what we know. Okay, or you may write for first 16 seconds. For first 16 seconds, in bracket you may write OA part. Okay, this will make it more clear. Okay, so what we know, do you know the initial velocity?
Yes.
Okay, so what is the initial velocity?
0.
0.
Initial velocity U is equal to 0 meter per second. Okay, fine. Then do you know the final velocity?
Yeah, 16.
Yes.
16 is the velocity.
No.
No, sir. 8.
Sorry. That is fine.
After 16 seconds, velocity is 8. You can either get it from the table also. So final velocity. Okay, v is equal to 8 meter per second. And then what we know from y-axis we got the velocity, from x-axis we can get the
Time.
time. Okay, so time, or else it is already mentioned for 16 seconds is equal to 16 seconds. Now these are the information that are available. We don't know anything else. From here we need to calculate the distance traveled. Distance comma s is equal to how much. So we have to choose an equation. Today I will leave it up to you. Okay, I will give you 1 minute.
Second equation.
Everyone think which equation we can use, and then I will ask one person. If you have chosen, then you may give thumbs up. Okay, so those who will give thumbs up, among them I will ask one of you to introduce yourself and let us know which one you have chosen and why you have chosen it. Okay, so let's do this, and this will definitely affect your class performance marks, so everyone take
Sir,
it. There should be
what
a
is A?
start. Bolo Samir, কোন equation choose করছো? 1 2 3 4, which equation? সামির ঘুমাই গেল নাকি? সামির,
Sir, disconnect হয়ে গেছে আমার।
আচ্ছা দেখি 2152 ফাতিমা, তুমি বলো কোন ইকুয়েশন চুজ করছো?
S equal to U plus V by 2 into T.
Very good. Why did you choose this equation?
Because here time is given, initial velocity is given, and final velocity given, and we have to find the distance.
Very good. Okay, in this equation you can see s is there. That is the first reason to choose this, and then u, v, t, this information are required to calculate distance in this equation. So that is why you can see u, v, t, these three information are known, so we will use this. Very good, very good. Okay, so now let us continue. Everyone please mute yourself again. We know s is equal to u plus v divided by 2 into t. Then s equal to initial velocity 0, final velocity 8 divided by 2 into t, that is 16. So 2 the 8 plus 0, 8 plus 64 meter. So in the first 16 seconds we have covered 64 meter distance. Okay, now we will see in the next 16 seconds how much distance we are covering. Alif was asking that question to জিজ্ঞেস করছে 32 সেকেন্ডের জন্য। 32 সেকেন্ডের জন্য তুমি একবারে বের করতে পারবে না, তোমাকে পার্ট বাই পার্ট বের করতে হবে। কেন? Because for first 16 seconds there is acceleration, for the next 16 seconds there is no acceleration, it is uniform velocity. So ওই পার্টের জন্য ডিসটেন্সটা আলাদা করে বের করতে হবে। Okay, so now let us see OA part. We are done with OA part. Okay. Okay, then for AB part, for 16 second to 32 second, that is AB. For AB part, we want to be able to calculate the distance. Now in AB, this part, we can clearly see the velocity is neither increasing nor decreasing, it is uniform, right? So for uniform velocity, we can write that velocity is uniform. Velocity is uniform. And what is that velocity? That velocity is 8. It is not changing from 8. Very good. So 8 meter per second. And the time from 16 to 32. It is another 16 seconds, right? So time will be
Yes.
So the distance covered in this part, what will be that? Actually, we should have mentioned the earlier distance as S1 and this distance is S2. Okay, so you can do that when you write in the notebook. So we know for uniform velocity, we know that it is S2 is equal to Vt. So S2 is equal to V. V is 8 and 16. So So 8 into 16, how much? 128. Can we check? So 8 into 16 is equal to 128, right? Okay.
Yes.
So this is the distance covered in next 16 seconds. Now coming back to our question that is given in C, they told us to calculate the distance covered in first 32 seconds. So first 16 seconds we have calculated the distance, it is 64. In the next 16 seconds we have calculated the distance covered, it is 128. So if I add them up, then that will give me the total distance covered in the first 32 seconds. Alif, is it clear now?
Yes.
Okay, so if you are answering the question that is given there, then the next line will be, so the distance covered in first 32 seconds is equal to S1 plus S2. S1 is the distance covered in OA part, that is 64. Then S2 is the distance covered in AB part, which is 128. So you add them up, you will get 192
Say
meters.
one.
Okay, good, very good. You already calculated. So write that line, okay? But I don't want to finish here. I want to show you that how we can calculate the distance for BC part also. What if they tell you to calculate the total distance covered throughout the journey? So what you can do then? I will show you inshallah now. Okay. Now we will see for 32 seconds to 48. Okay. And this will be BC part. 32 seconds to 48. Okay, and that is BC part. For this part, what we know? Okay, now here, what is happening? I want to know from Sanjida. Sanjida, can you tell me in BC part whether it is acceleration or uniform velocity? Sanjida, are you there? Sanjida, no. Fatima, okay. Sanjida, unmute yourself. Okay. In BC part, it is acceleration or uniform velocity?
Acceleration.
The acceleration is positive or negative?
Negative.
Okay. Why it is negative? Or how did you understand it is negative?
It is going downwards.
Going down. Now, going down means what? Means if this line is going down, what does that mean? देखिए मारवा बोलो. This line is going.
Deceleration.
Huh?
Deceleration.
Deceleration. That is okay, but when there will be deceleration?
When the velocity decreases.
Very good.
Acceleration decreases.
Here, okay. Here the velocity was increasing, and here clearly the velocity is decreasing, right? Okay, good. So there
Yes.
is acceleration, or it's enough for us to know that there is acceleration. Okay, the velocity is changing. That means again we will go back to this 4 equation. One of the 4 equation will be used here. Okay, so let us list up the given information first. Okay, can anybody tell me what is the initial velocity over here for BC part? Bapon, can you tell me what is the initial velocity? See, BC part, right? It starts at B. So the
8.
velocity at B, 8. That is the initial velocity, okay? And the body finally comes to at rest. The ending point of BC part is C. So what is the velocity there? 0. So the final
0.
second. And what is the time gap from 32 to 48? Okay, you can subtract it and show. 16 seconds again. Okay. So again, we need to calculate the distance covered as 3. Let us name this one as S3. S3 is equal to what? So again, you understand with the same information, we will use the second equation only. Okay. So we know S equal to U plus V divided by 2 into T. Here it will be S3. So S3 will be equal to initial velocity 8, final 0 divided by 2 into 16. So 2 the calculator 8. Again, it will be 64 meter. So in case they tell you to find out the distance traveled for the whole 48 seconds, that means throughout the journey, then what you need to do? In this process, you need to calculate S1, you need to calculate S2, you need to calculate S3 and add all of them. So now you can write, so the total distance covered is equal to S1 plus S2 plus S3, that is 64 plus 128 plus 64. So how much that will give you? 154?
256.
256, right? Okay, clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Sir, for finding only 32 seconds, we will take initial velocity as 8.
Where? At 32 seconds
For
after
only finding 32 seconds.
which part? OA, AB or BC?
No, I'm talking about the question to find only 32 seconds, like in part AB. You can say 32 seconds only. We will take the initial velocity as 8.
For AB part, there is nothing called initial velocity, nothing is final velocity, only one velocity. In AB part, you can see that the velocity is always 8. From 8, it didn't increase or decrease, it is always 8. As they asked in the question, they calculate the distance traveled for first 32 seconds. Are you asking about that?
Yes, sir.
For that, I already said that at first you have to calculate the distance for first 16 seconds. That one we already did. Then you have to calculate the distance traveled in next 16 seconds. Why we are calculating the distance in two separate parts? Because the story is different for the first part and the story is different for the second part. In this part, we have acceleration. So we have separate set of equation through which we can calculate the distance traveled for OA part. Okay, for 16 seconds, this much distance he will travel. Then for the next 16 seconds, we have to use different equation because the story is different here. Here there is no acceleration, it is uniform velocity. So for uniform velocity, we use S equal to VT equation, right? So using that, you have to calculate the distance travel for this part. Then you have the distance travel for this part and the distance travel for this part. Add them up, so that will give you for the distance travel for first 32 seconds. This actually I told before I started solving BC part, I already told that.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay, you can rewatch the video again and get your doubts clear, no problem. Okay,
Sir, can you take the photo and send in group?
only this part?
Yes, the last part.
Okay. I'm already giving you the videos. From there, you can take all the pictures, right? So why you need only this part picture?
No, just for now. I was taking notes, so I can't see now the quality get bad.
Acha, okay, no problem. Okay, so this is the first method through which we can actually calculate the distance covered. Then the second method, inshallah, we will talk about it on Sunday class, Sunday or Monday class. Okay, because we don't have enough time left. Inshallah, we will draw the same graph again. Before the class starts, I will try to keep it ready so that I can show you the second method through which we can calculate the distance covered. Okay, that's actually much easier to me. I don't know whether you will feel the same or not. Okay, there are three methods. Inshallah, I will show you all of them. You can choose any one of them to calculate the distance. Okay, so before we end the class, anybody wants to ask any question?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. See you on Monday, inshallah. Okay.